Man, this show's gonna be awesome, bro. This show's gonna be awesome.
Hey yo, I am having issues today, so I don't know what's going on. Something weird is going on with my phone and my camera, so I'm going to redo that intro. Okay, so let's go ahead and redo it. It's a good thing nobody's watching anyway. So
Man, this show's gonna be awesome, bro. This show's gonna be awesome.
okay, I hope that doesn't keep happening. Actually, you know what? That is getting a little annoying, and actually, it seems like my camera's off today. Huh. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. It's Little Dog and not even. No, I'm just playing. Let's see if we can fix this. This is annoying me a little bit. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm not going on. My huh. First off, my tripod isn't even though it says it's even. Second, I don't know why it keeps kicking me off from the internet. I'm not even connected to the internet, and it looks like I'm going slow anyways. What the heck is going on? Sorry. I am not sure what's going on. This end, hey, how's it going? I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not even connected to the Wi-Fi. Earlier, I thought it was because I was connected to the Wi-Fi, but it turns out I'm actually not connected to the Wi-Fi. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's a little bit more even now. Anyways, hopefully it doesn't kick me off the internet again. So thanks everybody for joining. I know that there was one person who logged on a little bit earlier. Sucks that I missed you. But anyways, here I am, and we are live now. So it has. We are going to find a way to do this anyways. Forget the phone. This today we are doing it via laptop camera. So let's hope nothing goes wrong this time. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. My phone has. Let me make sure that I'm not muted. Okay, my phone has been. I don't know why it's doing this, but it's kind of canceling out on me. In fact, I don't really like the camera that I have on this right here. Uh, but anyways, so now my whole train of thought's a little bit off. However, thanks to everybody who is following me and still following me, while my system makes a little bit of an update. It's kind of crazy what's going on. And am I lagging? Am I not? I can't. Anyways, let me volume because that was actually on my phone. So, and we're going now. So thanks everybody for joining. Uki, Tanastapi, and I'm excited for the show that we can use. This is actually my laptop camera, and so I'm hoping that I don't have internet issues, because if I do, which it looks like I am, we're gonna have some problems here. So, hey there, Pat. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in today. This is actually the second one that I'm logging into for that. I need to edit my name because what's happening is my other phone wasn't working. It keeps kicking me off of StreamYard. Not entirely sure why, but for some reason StreamYard's not working on my phone, which is what I normally use. And so I'm hoping that my internet stays stable enough for this. So let me go ahead and turn that in real quick. And I'm going to leave that one off stage. There we go. So that way I can you probably see it here echo back there. But that way I can hear what's going on, because I'm not entirely sure if my phone is going to work the entire time. So I'm going to leave it on there for about 5 minutes. If it cuts out again, then definitely not using the phone. If it doesn't, oh, and it did. I don't know what's going on with the phone. Anyways, it's tripping out. It's not quite working. I'm just going to restart it, and maybe I can jump back into it about halfway through. We'll definitely see. Now, there are some things that I wanted to get into today, talking about independent film. Recently, I had the pleasure of going to the film festival in Dallas, DIF, Dallas Independent Film Festival, and I got to watch this documentary right here. And so, Freeland Picture is very good. Got to meet Jane Myers, very amazing, very nice, very kind woman. So, that's who we have right there. Now, there was another one that was also there. Now, I didn't get to watch this, but it is something that I am very interested in. And this is actually has to do with the disenrollment. You know, that's just another way that people are going through getting greedy, and just trying to, greed. Nowadays, it's the new way of indigenous people selling out their own people. Back in the day, they thought that, hey, if we take care of our enemies, we don't have to travel along with them, or whenever they took over the land. Well, guess what? They still went along with it. Whenever all you guys are doing is you're shooting yourself in the foot. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. That's what we're doing. Because the less people that are inside of your tribe or that are enrolled in your tribe, that all that means is that the stuff from the the treaties are going to be unfulfilled, which is how they were designed originally. But I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's definitely something that I don't want to see come past. However, it is already happening, because that's what this documentary is about right here. And so you guys get a chance, go check that out. I'm definitely going to check it out. I saw the ad. I'm very interested in checking it out, and I want to go ahead and do that. But anyways, the second thing I wanted to go into is the Blackfoot Lessons 101. And I put this on here wrong. It's not a T. It's supposed to be an I. But that right here, the T at the front, that's supposed to be an I. So, iokakimasen, trying hard. That's something that we all do as actors. Ikakimasen. Now, remind you, this is supposed to be an I. The T is supposed to be an I, and it means trying hard. And as actors, we all try very, very hard to build our notoriety, to become more among, our fans, to get our names out there. And it's something that's very difficult. That's why this show was created, is so that way we can bring you these people, these independent artists, so that way, you can get to know them. Check out some of the films that they're doing. They have some stuff that are on Tubi. Tubi is free, and they actually have some pretty good movies on there, and a lot of really good independent movies. And so you get a chance, go check out Tubi. There is something new that I've been doing. So this is my company right here, one of my companies, Little Dog Roofing and Construction. And so I started doing a little bit more. So I'm doing more than construction. So I still have the crews that can still do renovation work, roofing, all of that good stuff. However, I'm starting to offer water, flushing water heaters. W area tank how to do both. I can do hand. So just hit me up. I help out. Sorry, it looks like just recently. I hope nothing happened right there. On my screen, it kind of went through and kind of reloaded. So I'm hoping that it didn't do that on the actual show. But anyways, I want to go ahead and thank that. That's one of my sponsors for the show. My other major sponsor I want to thank is Water Pure Texas. Now, with Water Pure Texas, what we're going to do is we are going to come in with a centrifuge and we are going to do a test. And this is what we usually do your test with. Now, to give you an idea of what we test for, here's that's a well water. This is treated water. We'll go to the treated water first. And this is what we forgot we're using that camera. So you got free chlorine, total chlorine, and CCl, which is that's the chlorine molecule. And what that means is like the liquid chlorine that's being poured and going through your water. The pH was 84, alkalinity, hardness, iron, copper, all that good stuff. These are different things that we check for whenever we go in because each filter is actually is built different. It's built based on your house and what you need, based on what the results are. So give us a call for that. Now, the other one that I want to go through is I do want to support this right here. This is there we go, American Indian Native Studies. They are still doing OAT, and we are going to have a panel. We are actually going to have a panel with a few of the people who are responsible for writing different stuff coming up later in the month. Be looking out for the ad as well as the live for that. We're going to have a pre-meeting later on. So anyways, this is who you contact. The State Board of Education here in Texas, and currently Austin and Grand Prairie are up for votes for renewal. It's not set on the sunset list, but it is being voted for. They're trying to get into it and say what they can and cannot teach, which is basically getting too political into it. The second one is, this is the script of what you would say. Now it says April, but now it's probably June. Go ahead and give them a call and show your support. You can also sign the petition. If you don't want to call them, sign the petition. And that is right. Not here. There it is. Ta-da. Second thing I want to thank and bring up is Film Hub Fridays. And now we're no longer on Spotify. Keep that in mind. We're not on Spotify. It's YouTube podcasts as well as YouTube and Facebook. So this has actually changed. I just not updated my flyer, but my flyer will be updated coming up soon. Film Hub Fridays. We meet every single Friday. You call the number 469-219-4620. We dropped another video. So go to IRM Films. You see IRM down at the bottom? IRM Films on YouTube and watch the newest one. It's called Bodyguard. Yours truly has a scene in it. Now, we have a powwow coming up too on the 11th. Boom. First annual benefit powwow. And that's Sunday, May 11th between 11 a.m., 8 p.m. in Arlington, Texas. All right. And with that in mind, that is actually the reason why we are on is because, it is not on here. How about that? Uploaded it. Anyways, it is MMI as well as mental health awareness month. So a couple of things going on. So I have a couple of guests coming on later on in the month where we're going to be dealing with some mental health as well as, mental health awareness, alertness, stuff that I've been a part of. But, let me get into this later on. I'm going to tell you guys more about this after we do our interviews because we have a couple of people that are going to be interviewing here soon. The first person that we have coming on today is Daniel Adam Warrior, who is not on yet. So Daniel, you'll recognize him from an earlier episode back in November, and pretty excited to have him back on. He's a very good friend of mine. Daniel, there we go. So. But I'm excited to have him on. He's a very good friend of mine. I got to meet him on Lawman Bass Reeves. That's where I first met him, and as well as a lot of other Indigenous actors and actresses. Very great people. Daniel Warrior has been in several different films. I'm going to let him explain that all to you guys, so that way y'all can get to him. I don't want to go ahead and give everything away. You know what I mean? Anyways, just waiting for Daniel. But while we're waiting for Daniel, I'm going to go over this right here again. So just to let you guys know, I am doing, what do you call it? I am helping out with self-tapes. I'm also filming monologues. I will be using my Canon camera, but this is my company I'll be doing it under. So today's Entertainers with Little Dog Productions. That's new. And that's not to get confused with Emmett Dalecoan Productions, who does this as well as I do cultural stuff as well. So such as, storytelling, stuff like that. Whenever I do the studies later on, that's going to be under Emmett Dalecoan Productions. Just because, that's what I want to remain on that side with. Okay. I'm going to play this for a second and try to get a hold of Daniel. And now I'm back. And so I do not have a response from Daniel yet. We are definitely waiting. Wait, what is that for? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on and go on to some of the other topics that I was talking about. So if you notice this little piece right here, my other camera is going, you'd notice it. This is from Red Tail Hawk Creations. And the guy's actually a really cool guy. He's got a shop over by Traders Village in Grand Prairie. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. Is this it? Nope. That's where he's located. So, and here is the store right here. Red-Tailed Hawk Arts. Man, really awesome guy. I met him at the powwow, at the IAA powwow, and just a really awesome guy. Go ahead and support him, support his business. He's got a lot of really awesome stuff that he's made, including, like I said, this is one of them. That's a real snakehead. That is awesome. But anyways, I'm pretty happy about that if you can't tell. So while we're still waiting for Daniel, while we're still waiting for Daniel to hop on, let me see. So let me go back to Dallas Film Hub. What we do is we shoot a short film every single Friday. A couple of weeks ago, we shot a film called The Bodyguards, and I got to have a fight scene in it. So it was actually really, really fun. Like I said, if you go to IRM Films on YouTube, you'll be able to see it there as well. Okay. And I am seeing Warrior pop up. Hello. Let's see. Let me go ahead and add him to the stage. I'm going to play this real quick. Give him a second to... It looks like his phone is having some issues right now. But I'm going to play his intro video, and then I'll be back with Daniel Warrior. All right. And that would be this one.
This is the true story of the frontier, of the Wild West, and the founding of America. The British are defeated. This is the true story of the frontier, of the Wild West, and the founding of America. The British are defeated.
Gosh.
Man, I didn't know that was what's going on with your camera, bro.
With mine, yeah. I just happened to drop my phone on the day I needed to do this. I'm gonna see if I can use my computer.
All right. All right. Well, I'll let you back in when we get back on, okay?
Okay, cool. All right.
All right, man. Wow, I did not know how big that made my face look. But it made my face look really huge, so. But I want to let you guys know that I do have some short films that I'm working on. Actually, I have a show working on in the works with Daniel Warrior. We're not going to announce it just yet, but it's something to keep an eye out for. It's going to be a lot of comedy skits and stuff like that. I've already wrote the first comedy skit, and our first comedy skit is actually going to be in memory of Charlie Hill. Charlie Hill was an indigenous comedian. He did a lot of stand up, and he was around for a while. And actually, I was going to start off the show with this, but my phone kept messing up on me. But as you see, I have my drum. I was going to go like this. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? But anyways, I didn't get to do that just because, my phone was messing up and it kept kicking me out. So I'm hoping that I'm not glitching right now. It seems to be that at least I'm not the only one that's going through things. I thought it was just me. And then my buddy Daniel drops his phone. Here we go. Oh, it looks like he's back. He is not back. Nope, he's not back. So, which is kind of funny because Daniel Warrior, you'll remember him from an earlier interview. And that was one of our first episodes that we did. I was super nervous. I had no clue what I was doing, and we just kind of winged it. And it turned out as a pretty good one. And in my intro that plays at the beginning of the episode, that is actually a clip of Daniel Warrior saying that. And so that was put together by one of the former editor, producer of the show. And so I see Daniel has his mic on, but he doesn't have his picture on or his video. I wonder what's going on. Oh, we have a comment. Oh, David, what's going on, brother? Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for logging on, and thanks for showing your support. I always appreciate it, man. You and Pat, you guys are very steady and very kind of watch the show all the time. So I really appreciate the support. Pat and Dave, actually former guests on the show. I do want to give a shout out too, actually. Former guest on the show, Christopher. I'm just gonna mess it up. Just say native Fables production. And let me go here. Christopher. Okay, and I don't want to say it wrong this time. And actually, I think I'm on the wrong one. So, what's going on? So, I'm sorry. Again, on mine, it keeps showing that it's reloading. And so, with today's stuff, that's no, do not connect to the Wi-Fi. It messes up. Let me go onto StreamYard on my phone because I trust my phone. However, I don't trust my laptop all too much. I don't trust, to be honest. It's it is my computer. Hold on. So I'm going to remove that from there. I'm going to leave my phone on the page for 5 minutes. And if it holds and stays, then I am more willing to go ahead and jump back on my phone. So let's go ahead and leave that for a second. And I'm going to address all of you guys. So see, like my internet connection keeps going down. It goes going up. And so I'm trying. Oh, I don't know what's going on today. I feel great, though. I've had a great day. I went out. I did a water heater. I did a little bit light plumbing today. Just trying to get my company name out there. I did a water test, doing another water test on Friday, as well as checking out another water heater. So I'm excited for a lot of work that keeps coming up. I've been doing a lot more. My knee is healed up quite well. I'm able to start jogging again. I'm very happy about that because for a little while there, I wasn't able to run. And whenever I was running very awkward just because I had torn my ACL. Well, I'm doing better now, and I am super happy about that. I do have some that have been coming, as far as some projects. I'm pretty excited about some of these projects that are coming up. I've you know what? I've got another tip for you guys. So I go and on Fridays, and his name is Matthew Simmons. And Matthew Simmons comes up to me and says, "You would be great for this one role." And so, again, it doesn't you don't know who you're going to meet. You can meet other actors. You can meet people with different connections. And so that's why it's important to go to these network events, network with the actors around you, with the people around you, get to know everyone, have fun. That's what Dallas Film Hub is about. It's about having fun. And it looks like I have Mr. Warrior back. Boom.
You don't have to. What's up, brother? I had to download.
What's happening, bro?
I was doing a tattoo. I was right in the middle of a tattoo, but I'm done. What about you? What are you doing?
Man, your color looks so much better on the phone, man. Just to show, I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly because things are messing up on my phone, which is my better camera. And so now I look super pale.
Oh, it's all right. You got it. You look great.
I'm not sure.
You look real chief-like.
I'm just playing, man. So you did come on the show as a guest previously, and I really appreciate you coming on, brother. And coming back, like I said, as we get bigger and bigger, I do want to bring you back more. Am I glitching?
Yeah, you look like Minecraft. It's cool.
Oh,
you're probably too young for Max Headroom, but something like that.
Dang it.
It's okay.
I've been having
connected to
Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi,
man. It's been.
But listen, you pulled it.
I mean,
up.
no, this, but it's been like. I think the Wi-Fi on the computer is slow. Do what?
You want to try to call? You want to try to do this again and see if it reconnects?
I've been trying to do StreamYard. Yeah.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute. You stay right there. I'll be right back.
You got it. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Entertaining everybody with a monologue.
My name is Dan Warrior. This is the true story of the frontier, of the Wild West, and the founding of America. A violent tale of European colonists pushing ever deeper into an unexplored wilderness, of an indigenous people exploited and conquered by treaty or by force, and a chaotic war for freedom, chronicling the carving up of a continent, the birth of lawless cattle towns, the ruthless rise of the railroad, and the feverish greed of the gold rush. Forget the myths. Witness the brutal reality of how the West was won. The bona fide history of life on the frontier. Welcome to 7 episodes of National Geographic, What Really Happened, America's Wild West. Horses, wagons, and the #1 show in America. Oh, hey, what's up? I just entertained your guests. They all left millions of chats and likes, and they're slamming that.
No, there's still somebody there.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I guess they just got my entire National Geographic monologue. Looks better.
Nice, man. Do I look okay to you now? It's better? Okay.
You look absolutely marvelous.
Just shut your mic off. Oh. Never mind. But thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for joining us. Give us a little bit about your background. You said
completely cut out right as soon as you asked that question. I heard background, and then you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. It's just freezing as you were answering the question or asking the question. Tell us about your background. And
let me try. Huh?
This is going really well.
Okay. I was just seeing if
I'm gonna take off my headphones.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I'm not sure what's going on. For some reason today's okay.
Okay. Are you joining as somebody else? Can you hear me? Test 1.
No, that's me.
Oh, okay. but you can't hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. I just want to make sure because let me see. Something's wrong with my computer. Okay.
Yeah. Whoa. Sorry, it glitched really bad there on me. Man, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on today. And it's today specifically. It's like my signal is just not strong. Here.
Oh,
All right, let's try this.
you have to turn one of your mics off.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on today with all this right here. For some reason, StreamYard's acting kind of
There,
icky.
there. Looks way better. You're on. You're not glitching. You got it.
All right. Now let's just hope that the internet doesn't cut out on me on this thing.
Hey, don't even talk like that. Just say it's going to be the best show ever. As he glitches.
It happened. As soon as it went through, and I've restarted this thing several times, I'm actually getting really annoyed at this. I have totally killed off all of the stuff on my phone. It looks like Daniel's off the stage. This thing is starting to actually really, really annoy me. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know why StreamYard is doing this today. It worked perfectly last week. This week, it seems to be having issues. I am going to try it again. There. I'm going to try this for a little bit. Try this for a little bit and see if it kicks me out again. It kicks me out again. So this time I'm going to remove myself from stage, and I'm going to stay on this one for a little bit. Let me see if I can get damn good on this one. Nope, it looks like I'm froze. Dang it. And StreamYard keeps kicking me out of here. What the heck? Browser has blocked my camera and in the studio automatically start the broadcast. Join studio, refresh page, allow prompts. And I don't know what's going on right here. This is actually getting really annoying today. I'm going to start a ticket with StreamYard because this is not cool. I don't know what's going on. It's being annoying as heck. Let me remove myself from the stage. Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm leaving my phone on the camera to see if it stays on longer than 5 minutes this time. If it does, I'll get back to that. But for now, I'm going to stay on this.
Oh, man, I can hear it. I can hear you twice.
Damn it. And look, it's restarting.
Oh, okay.
No.
Should I actually come back?
Sorry, I got to turn my mic on back to hear you again. All right, Daniel. Can you hear me okay?
Log out and come back? Mm-hmm.
No. I think it's me that's messing up. I think it's this laptop. Let me ask you something. Even if I cut out, go into your history a little bit. Did you hear that?
Okay, my history
in
my life, in films, in TV,
your life,
in radio.
Tell us who you are. Yes.
Well, I'm a Native American superhero.
Everything, man. That's what we're here to learn. We're here to learn about you, my friend.
Okay. Well, I'm not really good about talking about myself. So I'm from Oklahoma. I'm Creek, Shawnee, and Sioux. I was born in 1981 in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I left my hometown to play college basketball, traveled a lot, became a radio DJ. Then I got into film, and now I'm a radio DJ, and I do voiceovers, tattoo artist, play 6 instruments. And now I do motivational speaking for schools, kids. I did the JOM educators a couple weeks ago. And now I'm just trying to live my best life in Tulsa. Any specific avenue you want me to go through? Awesome.
Do what?
Is there any specific avenue you want me to go down or talk about anything? Like,
Let's go through some of the films that you've been a part of, brother.
okay. I work behind the scenes in Reservation Dogs. It's like remixing me, and that's all I can hear. Just like in my ear, like Reservation Dogs, Reservation. Killers of the Flower Moon, Bass Reeves, 1883. Voiceover National Geographic. I'm also the voice for some kind of trader in the Appalachian Mountains. And it's a choose your own adventure kind of PBS kind of video game. And then I do 7 Cemeteries with Danny Trejo. I play a zombie killer named Jose the henchman. I guess, well, you have to watch it. I can't really tell you what happens. I play basketball on my days off. Sometimes I walk a 5K at the LaFortune Park. I lift every single weight in the YMCA. I'm a painter. I'm in the middle of a very expensive painting right now. There's a painting back here that I painted.
You say every
what? I wish I could hear you. Maybe you could write it down on a piece of paper and hold it up.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Hold on 1 minute.
Okay. That sounds really awesome.
Internet connections here.
Did you pay your bill? Just kidding. I just paid mine. Kept my lights on this time. Oh, how did I get into acting? Oh, okay. I see it. Right? That's the age-old question. How do you get into it? Everybody can get into it. everybody can just go all in, all out, go fill out your profiles on every single casting site you can think of. You can go pick up trash behind the scenes. You can go to whatever. It's endless. It's absolutely endless. Problem is people don't want to put the work in. And it's not for everybody because you can't really have your own schedule. You can't have your own. You have to have a bag packed at all times. You can't really have a regular job. You have to sleep in your car sometimes. And so I just showed up. They call it showing up. So if you show up, people call you back. If you work hard, people will recommend you and refer you. And then every movie set you get onto, if the director, producer decides that they think you should be seen, if you look great, presentable, if you always have your hair looking great, then they pick you. And if you want it bad enough, if you've been through enough stuff, you can act. I did 50 something auditions last year, and I don't think I got any of them. So you can't really fear rejection, and you have to keep going if that's what you're going to do, because a lot of people quit after the first rejection. How did I get to be a radio DJ?
Being a DJ.
All right. So I was at a bar singing karaoke, and I met some guys that were, I don't know, they dressed different. They were really fast talkers, and they were all out partying at the market in Tulsa. And after like a month, I was like, "What do you guys do?" Because you're always around each other. And they said we do radio, singing karaoke, and I met some guys. I can hear myself. That sounds like a good story. Anyway, they were talking trash about each other because they're from different radio stations. And I said, "Hey, I would like to be a radio DJ." And they said, "You should go to the radio station and ask if you can be part of the street team." So I went and worked behind the scenes for 6 months, no pay. My girlfriend broke up with me, said it wasn't a real job. Then finally he said, "Would you like to be on the air?" And I said, "You got it. How long will it take for you to, or when do you think you'd be ready to be on the air?" And I said, "Today, let's go." So I put me on the air, and I became DJ Hightower on 106.9 KHz. My phone's going off. I'm also a mobile DJ. I do karaoke on different locations. You can hire me, and I'll come out and just sing your favorite songs, and I'll just run the board and make you sound like $1 million. Yes. I'm still a DJ. From the day I was born, I've been a DJ. I guess since 2006, I became DJ Hightower, and I've worked a radio job or a mobile DJ job since then. So almost 20 years, probably. DJ Hightower, laying down the soundtrack for your after party. The Hightower Lunch Hour and the Hightower Power Hour on 106.9 KHz. That's right. Nice. Okay. This is another episode. Hey, what's Dan doing? This is the most entertaining show I've ever seen. And you're remixing as we go, body doubling right in the middle, cutting out, leaving me solo. Entertain the crowd, and then I hear myself entertaining myself.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I don't know what exactly is going on with this today. It is something that's actually kind of annoying me a lot. I'm
Hey,
doing the
I
best
got
I
an
can to
idea.
hold it together. I know that we're doing the tag on the questions, so
Mhm. How about we could reschedule and we can do a
uh,
trial? I mean,
I
if you're
seem to
not
be
busy,
having all sorts of issues today.
busy tomorrow, we can definitely try it again tomorrow. People will still tune in. We can blow it up.
Yeah, I might have to. Let me see if this works out a little bit. I mean, it's getting kind of ridiculous to how this has been reacting. It seems like, for some reason, it seems like the internet's having a little bit. Oh, well, it looks like the internet's a little bit better now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so give us a little bit more. You said that you do tattoos. How long have you been doing that tattoos for?
Probably since 2017, 18. I was in New York and there wasn't very many tattoos around there, especially on the res. And I decided if I can paint pictures, I can draw pictures. No one's buying pictures until you're dead. So if I wanted to make money, I could do tattoos. And I had a line out the door. So um, I have a shop in town and I just meet people and then they do tattoos and then I come home.
Nice.
I just draw pretty pictures on people.
Well, that's still very common, actually.
Mhm.
Uh, did I cut out or did you cut out? Or did we both cut out?
We both. I can just see you glitching and then I hear your words after.
Okay. So I look like a
Sometimes you're not
Japanese.
even moving. Yes, it's like stops and then I hear words and then you smile for a while and it gets stuck. And then I can
Yeah.
hear my own response. And then
Can you hear
you're
your own
not there.
response right now?
Not right now.
Okay, cool. I did mute it, and so I'm hoping that this works out a little bit better. I don't know why this is having issues today. You know, maybe it's solar flares, maybe it's something else. I don't know.
Mhm.
But anyways, so we know that you didn't been doing professional for on the acting since Yellowstone. Was that your first project?
Mm. No, it was a show called Golly What a Day. Um, and that was in Texas, in Wichita Falls. And then I got referred to a show called The Inhabitant, and then a show called Little Dixie, then the Reservation Dogs, behind the scenes. And then I went to Killers of the Flower Moon, showed up on the side of the road until they picked me. And then I went to um, Seven Cemeteries with Danny Trejo when he asked me to be in his movie.
Nice, man. That is awesome.
And that's pretty much how it started. It was just referrals, showing up, job to job, meeting the right people. And now I get to do cool podcasts with people like you.
Well, you're one of the coolest guys I know, bro, and one of the tallest, actually.
Yeah.
We didn't get to
And
go over that last time. How tall are you?
I'm only 6'10".
You're only 6'10".
That's
Only.
it. Depending on my shoes or what, how my hair is spiked up that day.
You're like a whole foot taller than me.
Yeah, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm like 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around there in between.
That's all right. You'll grow. You got time.
I'll go.
I'm sure you got a
so,
growth spurt in there.
so what state are you originally from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from the stars, bro.
From the stars.
I was born in Stillwater, and I grew up in Cushing, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, man.
Got a newspaper
Uh,
route and played basketball, and I ended up getting college scholarships to get out of there, and I left.
nice. Uh, I have been working on some of the skits that we've been talking about,
Good. Those
and
are
so
definitely a
I'm
must.
gonna send them over so that way if you want to make any changes to any of them. Now, one of them is based off of Charlie Hill's bit that he did a while back, and so I'm not
Oh
gonna give
yeah.
it away. But the one that we were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that one.
Classic.
It's that one's gonna be fun, and then I've almost finished writing the one with the Hogwarts bit that I had that I told you about as well,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm pretty excited about that, man. Uh, I've also been, trying to get some other things for all of us to be on, some time stuff. I have been talking to a writer, and he's kind of interested in putting you in a role for something, but I don't want to, I want to make sure that it's going to happen before, we talk a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
about it, but I'll talk to you more about that in private.
We can talk about it now and tell everybody what I'm going to do and how I'm going to be the star of the movie. Just kidding. It's all good. I know how it works, man. We'll just
All
figure it out when it gets there. I'm down though. You know that.
right. Uh, Now, whenever we spoke last time, we were talking about something that you had coming up. Is that still coming up, or do you not want to talk about that?
The video game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's already done. I already
Oh,
finished
okay.
it. It'll be out. I'm not really sure what it's called. I think it's for PBS. It's gonna be on their website. Choose Your Own Adventure. Um, Fur Trader in the Appalachian Mountains.
Nice.
I just trade furs, man.
Now, are you taller than everybody in that one too?
I think so. They programmed me at like I think it's 16-bit. I'm just kidding. It's an Atari game. It's called Pitfall.
Okay, nice,
No,
man.
I don't. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Um, though you're closer to knowing than I am.
Okay. um, what about any other projects? Have you been applying for any of the other films that have been coming through, or are you just
No,
been
I'd
kind
like to
of
do Landman. I heard there's
yeah,
another one coming out.
yeah? They're casting for on my casting file. Are you on
Okay,
there?
maybe I'll check it out. I think I am.
All right, but yeah, check it out, mycastingfile.com, and that's where it's at. And how convenient, my phone's finally working. Uh, that's funny. But
See?
anyways, uh, you know, I am moving a lot closer to having a full stage. And that's going to be with Dallas Film Hub, who I talked to you about before. Whenever that happens, I definitely want to have everybody come on there because we're going to have a lot less glitches, a lot more
Mhm.
stable internet, and a lot more systems set up and a lot better cameras. So, something to look forward to, man, because I really want everybody out there to get to know you because you did the awards not too long ago, right? You were a
Mhm.
presenter.
Yeah, at the Red Nation Film Festival in Beverly Hills. I
Nice,
was on
man.
the stage with Stands with a Fist,
Oh, nice.
and I think her name is Renee from Smoke Signals.
Yeah, that is cool, man. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Jonelle Romero was the one that hooked it all up. It's her film festival.
Oh, okay. That is
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. So I got a really cool opportunity to do that.
That is really cool, man. Now that my phone is working, sorry. I'm trying to set my stuff up on the tripod again now. There we go. Ah, so that way I don't gotta hold it.
Hey, you got a podcast now. Look at you.
I know, right? How about it? Now it's actually happening.
Hey, welcome to the big show. Dan Warrior.
Well, Daniel, I want to bring you on after my next guest again, so that way we can start again. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Uh, I'll
Uh,
have
we could talk a
I'll
little bit
check it.
more, and I do want you to do your full monologue on your own without any interruptions. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and that's one thing that we're gonna do at the end. Now, everybody who's watching, we are going to be. I do have his social medias for Daniel Warrior, and they're gonna be on the end credits. Okay, and
Nice.
so I have all your socials and your TikTok, your Facebook, and your Instagram. Okay, so that way people can
Oh,
find you.
nice, man. Thank you.
Professional, right? End credits, right?
Mhm. Nice.
Didn't have that
Big
last time.
time. Mhm. See, I told you, you just keep it
So
up.
I figured. Yeah, just keep moving forward. That's what I do. Is that if I'm improving at least a little bit each time, I'm pretty happy about that. You know.
Yep, that's it. That's all you want to do. Consistent, improving, and showing up with purpose and intent.
For sure. Now, they can't find you on the National Graphics, right? And now, do you have anything else that somebody can watch you in, like Tubi or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I'm very much a featured extra, just a lot of film experience, I guess. Nothing significant as far as like star quality where I'm the main character or anything yet, but I'm working toward that.
Well, you still are an amazing person because without even the background or featured background, the world ceased to exist.
True. True.
It's so. Uh, oh, look that we had a comment a little while back from Robbie Mitz. Robbie Mitz is watching. Hey, brother.
Yeah, look, you got his picture and everything. What? That's cool.
That's whenever they comment off of Facebook.
Oh, nice.
And so when they comment on Facebook, their photos pop up and everything, just like how we had Pat Weston earlier. See this one right here.
Oh, nice.
It's it
Oh,
is some pretty
man.
cool software whenever it works.
Yeah, we did it.
And so but I really appreciate you coming on, man. I do enjoy having you on, and I can't wait till we get our show together, because I think that you'll be a star on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm
Yes.
excited.
And
Sounds like
actually,
you always have really good ideas.
and you're actually one of the named ones. For those who are wondering, it's gonna be Little Dog and then Daniel Warrior, and so we're gonna cross them, and it's gonna be called War Dog.
Nice. War Dog.
And we're gonna come up with a lot of skits on there too that have a lot to do with indigenous humor,
I just had a lot of
and
cool ideas. I think we can do this.
some of them we may be pushing the limits of freedom of speech.
Good. That's where you want to be.
So there are gonna be some people that are gonna get butthurt off of it, but we're gonna have fun. Man,
Me
you
and Jen having fun. No, I did a tattoo party yesterday until about 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. And then I had some more tattoos today. So I was traveling and everybody's calling me different places. And so I move a lot.
Okay.
I had a lot of errands.
Have you heard the intro of the show?
From the one you just played for us with the National Geographic?
No, the intro of this show, the podcast.
Oh no.
No. Actually, it's you on there.
Really?
So your voice is featured every time we play it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna play it for you real quick so that way you get to see what it looks like. Because I know that you, like you said, you haven't seen it, and so I know you're a very busy person. All right.
Okay.
It's only about 15-second clip, but I'm gonna show it real quick. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now they can still hear us while we're off screen. Just to let you know.
Man, your show's gonna be awesome, bro. Your show's gonna be awesome.
We spoke it into existence. That's so funny. I wish I was a little more prepared so I didn't sound like this show's gonna be so awesome.
It's so but yeah, you were actually one of my first guests, and I really appreciate it. You were there to support me, and I want to make sure that I'm
Always.
here to support you as well, and everybody else that supportive of my career, and everybody in independent film. You're in independent film, and we're all doing like how today's Blackfoot word of the day was. We're all trying hard, which was now keep in mind it's not supposed to be a T. It's supposed to be an I at the beginning.
Mm.
So, Ikametsen. Ikametsen.
Yeah, committed.
Trying hard.
hard. It's awesome.
And that's what we're all trying to do as actors, right? We're trying to get out there. We're trying to get our names going. Trying hard to make this podcast work.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not trying hard, you're just existing.
Exactly. And that's what you do too. You've been networking around. I see you always, you're either doing a tattoo party somewhere, you're selling your art, you're doing autographs. You've been on Killers of the Flower Moon, Yellowstone. You've got a lot of accomplishments, man, that you've done. And I know that you got a lot more in your career coming up as well,
That's the plan.
for
Every
sure.
day,
And I
if I
definitely want
can,
to see that.
I put a probably 3 auditions in recently, so we'll see if I get a call back.
Oh,
And then I got a
nice.
call today for an audition for some short film. I have to figure out. I need somebody to read with. I need somebody here to read with. So if you guys
Well,
want to come over and read with me, you can.
well, if you want, we can do. I can go somewhere where I have better signal, and I can do a Zoom with you if you want.
Cool. I just have to record it with you on the phone.
That's
Figure it out.
totally fine. You can do record that way, or else what I can do is I can set you as an overlay,
Hmm.
and I'll turn my camera off, but not my mic, and that way it could record you.
Deal. Sounds
All
great.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Is your next guest coming on at 8 o'clock? You said that, I think, in the schedule.
Yes, the other gentleman's coming on at 8. It's just actually, but you gotta be right about here. I see that his mic and everything is off, but let's go ahead and I'm gonna bring you back so that way you do yours on afterwards. Okay. Hey, Janet, she's on set,
Okay.
but I'll bring you back. Okay. And I see Johnny's on there, so I'm gonna introduce him. Okay. I'll
Okay.
talk to
You
you
got it.
later, and I'll let you know when you can call back in. Okay, brother.
Thanks a lot. All right.
I
Peace.
appreciate you. All right, that was Daniel and Warrior. We really appreciate him. He's an amazing guy, amazing actor. I enjoy talking with him, and always it's always fun being with him on set. He's got a very good sense of humor, and he's just a great guy to know. If you need any roles, especially some indigenous, Daniel Adam Warrior, he is that tall indigenous man. Towers over all of us, and has a really big shoe size. So makes me feel short, and I usually don't do that. But anyways, our next guest is actually from up north. I'm gonna let him talk about himself to you guys, so that way he can introduce himself. But his name is Johnny Arnoux, and I have this for him. Hold on, because we don't have a video for him, but we have this while I introduce him. Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
Okay, Takwa. Hey, how is it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool, man.
How you doing, man? I appreciate you
Oh, I'm
joining
doing
us.
all right.
Are
Heck yeah,
you
I'm doing all right.
awesome? Where are you joining us from?
Seattle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is where I've been at since 2015. I moved over here. I was well in Browning, obviously, getting raised up there and grew up there, and come up this way, go to school, and see what the world's about, and it's been pretty nice, seeing a lot of
Nice.
different things, especially going to school. One of our great chiefs, Red Crow, my grandfather, and Mikaisto is how you say his name. The guy behind me right there, that's Mikaisto, Red Crow. He once said, education's our new buffalo, and that's so true. So, but yeah,
Sorry, I think it's a little frozen right now. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah,
Or am I frozen?
no,
Okay.
you're moving around.
Sorry
You're
about that. I had to
regular.
turn up the volume on my laptop a little bit because my phone says that it's having slow internet. So I just wanted to make sure you could hear me.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Now, so you're a public figure, correct? You actually are pretty active. What all do you do?
Well, I do a lot of public speaking. I've been invited to speak at schools and stuff, high schools, you know, uh, regarding Indian way of knowing, not specific like ceremonies stuff, but just the idea of that original school of nature for which all of our ancestors were taught from. That's how we all saw the world, and I think that's really important, for all of us to really understand, that concept of how our ancestors understood that, us human beings are the pitiful ones, and we come second, almost last, to everything that grows around us. And for once we start playing God is when we start failing. That's turning those things that grow around us into our conveniences. So those are those things. Just try to understand one another. Because we kind of look at those things as non-existent, or they just there. Non-playable
Mhm.
characters, as people like to say. And then it's quite so far from the truth. But yeah, I
Yeah.
do a lot of public speaking there, some colleges here in Seattle, and then also going to ceremony, and being able to share coup stories there, which is
Mhm.
a lot of things, a lot of, those happen at ceremony, and they're very beautiful because it inspires, everyone in attendance and everyone else that can, hear that story passed down. That's how oral history works. It's a ripple system. Pebble go in the water, make a ripple, and people pass it down. And it's such a beautiful thing for someone that has darkness in their life, and someone's words or energy about them, can light that path. That's
Mhm.
one of those ways that a lot of us Indian people know of, and a lot of our elders are still intact, and it's a beautiful thing to understand the blessing that is, and we're not so far removed from those black and white pictures that we see. That experience was about 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and right
Mhm.
now it's we're approaching on that seventh generation that they is always talking about. My kids, they're the seventh generation from Mikaisto. He signed Treaty 7 for us Blackfoot, 68,
Mhm.
the Confederacy. So that's where we're bound from over in Canada, and through the magistrate. And on this side, we have our treaties over here with the Laramie and Rainbow and all whatever, and it goes on. But heck yeah, But I like talking like that. And as far as movies, entertaining, you know, I started off here in Seattle as a little boy. My mother, she worked for the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I was born in Alexandria, Virginia. My mom always told me that that was a birthplace of presidents. Hey, I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that means. But I wasn't there that long. She did a lot of traveling due to her job. So we was at a lot of different reservations. And then she sent us off to live with my grandparents. Now, there's products from the relocation in the 50s. So they was over here. And so I lived with them until my mom moved over and joined us. And, you know, but there was something that she noticed. There was a big calling in her, to move us back home to the reservation. She didn't want her kids programmed, you know, whitewashed, as she put it. That's how
Mhm.
she told me. She didn't want that for us. And yeah, so started my life over there about 8 years old, and I was over there ever since I moved back in 2015, and it's a really, really beautiful thing, to I didn't understand that appreciation I had for that until I come over here. I often tell people when I'm talking is when I first come here to the city, oh man, it was moving so fast. You know, a lot of folks they think, or at least for myself, I thought I knew how everything worked just by observing on TV. Hey, and then I move over here and everything's so fast, and
Mhm.
it's like, oh my goodness, and but understanding how that was, that appreciation from where I came from, and what my mom, you know, her decisions for when I was so young, and like what I said, I tell people this: when I first come here, I thought I was broke. I thought I was broke beyond measure, but quite in fact, maybe I was materialistically thinking, but I was actually rich beyond measure from everything I maybe been around, with them elders, riding a horse from the country to go to school in the middle of a snowstorm because the car was snowed in, and I got trapped out at my uncle's house. I mean, those type of things, that we don't think about. And then, just understanding that concept alone helped me understand every experience as they happen. It's just, they're so special as life goes on. Every day is so special. So
Yeah.
those life lessons that we learn. But how I got involved in movies, I was invited to audition for a project. Someone seen me up in Lummi Reservation over here in Washington. Children of the Setting Sun Productions, really cool people. And they have a good production company up there on the Lummi Reservation. Yeah, and check them out. They're really cool. They have a documentary series called Salmon People, and it really goes over a lot of the Coast Salish and this whole regional area, which is a very beautiful culture in itself. Because a lot of people have that misconception that Indianness is all the same all around, and it's not. Everything is regional, because those were the teachers from the original school. All the regional animals and everything that grows around here are everywhere. That was the regional teachers. Gave us medicine, gave us life lessons. Does a leaf grow and give us shade? Yes, it does. And a specific tree did that. All these things, they're all counted in regional status. So, but yeah, check them out. Children of the Setting Sun Productions. But they did a TV series and it was quite great. And I hope it gets some more um, momentum behind it. It's called The Sound, and it's this young lady's journey back into the canoe and the understanding of that culture and stuff. And I thought that was a really, really beautiful story to talk about, because it kind of lets people in on the Coast Salish and the cedar and the water and the canoe journeys and a lot of the things that got negated through time. Because I, like my mother, she knew a lot of stuff about our history and our Indian history, and a lot of policies that was put against us through or on us through time, and a lot of what we know and now. And like only two tribes due to the what's it called, the Department of Indian Education, got really highlighted in that school system was the Sioux and the Dene. And a lot of the other tribes, they weren't really mentioned. So a lot of the people themselves didn't understand, a lot of their regional ways. So it kind of eclipsed a lot of the young ones from knowing a lot of the messages that their teachers was telling them around the region. So only in the last maybe 10, 20 years, this has really been getting going. People knowing what the trees and the things that grow around them are really saying, and that's been a beautiful thing to experience in my time here on Earth, as an Indian person, because I realize that we all come in generations in time and things we witness, and it's like, oh, wow. I think about like one of our greatest chiefs, Bird Rattler. He was our first judge that we had on our res when they implemented the reservation system. A great man, and he was really, really renowned. I wrote about him on my Facebook. That's another thing too. I have a Facebook and social, and I keep that public so people can, see what I post. I usually post history and stuff and remind people to pray, acknowledge the blessings. And I do shout outs too for some of the things that I find important and, get involved with along the way of this journey. But that was that first one that got my foot in, and I almost didn't want to go. I almost second guessed myself. Is one way I like telling people, don't be George McFly and you're way out of it. Hey, and a lot of people nowadays, it goes over their head, because they're not privy to the Back to the Future era like I was. And they're like, George Hood. I'm like, George McFly, you should see that movie. Heck, that guy was always like, oh, what if they say I'm no good? What if they, doing that? I was like, don't ever do that, So I had to take my own medicine on that one, because here I was at the University of Washington. I was really driving by, almost really George McFly in it. Oh, I was like, oh, I'm just going to jump on this highway and just go back home, heck, I don't know. And I turned out, I went in there and, oh, man, because I read the lines and stuff and I really practiced them, and when you get your lines, you really don't know what the story or what you have an idea, but you don't know really, you know. So I had an idea, so I go in there. And next thing I look around and there's all these other Indians and they're really doing great performances on the lines that I was like, oh gosh, these guys are well trained, man. Who am I? You know what I mean? It's like, who am I? I was like, I ain't nobody. Man, I just come here from Browning, a few years ago, and now I'm up here being I all right, so here I'm sitting there and I'm really watching and I'm really just so hard on myself, as a lot of us tend to be, we're so hard on ourselves and not giving myself a break at all. And I'm looking around, then here comes old George McFly in again. Here I'm just like, oh, geez, I think I'm just gonna head out, then I'm getting up to go, and next thing, Johnny Arnoux said, I was like, oh, they said my name wrong, but I'll answer it anyway just to correct them. Yeah, it's Arnoux, and they're like, oh yeah, come on, and so I went in there and just really, I guess they like what they saw, so they picked me out of all them other ones, and it wasn't an immediate answer. It was a few months after. I even forgot about it. Went on with my job, my life, Next thing, I get an email and all the severity about it. Can you be available? I'm like, what the heck's going on? Oh, these guys, that's right. And I started reading that email. It's like, okay, all right, that sounds good. So I wrote them back. They called me and signing permission deals and all, or that whole thing.
Yeah,
It's
the NDAs.
yeah, yeah. And if you're allergic to nothing and stuff. And I was like, oh wow, that's pretty neat. So here, that was a great, great experience, and it was really cool to be acting. And before that time, though, when I was over here in Seattle in elementary school, I think I was in about maybe two plays here in Kenmore, and it was cool. Hey, I was in That's Entertainment, and I think I was like a tree or something. But you know how plays are, you're like background stuff. I can't remember, but I was singing too, and I thought that was really cool. I think that was my first time ever doing that. And
That's cool.
yeah, that was like that first time. And then here, that was, I did the pilot. The pilot got seen, and so we've been shopping it, as they say, going to theaters, film festivals, talking about it, and everything. So we've done a few of those things, but no one's picked it up yet as of yet. So, and here, that was that one. But during that time, I rubbed elbows with some people, and they got to see me, and talk to me on a personal basis, and this is really refreshing from what they said, because they like talking about culture, and they like talking about, especially the ways of knowing, is that we have, or that, and so that was really cool. So then the next one, let's see, the next one was Slash Squatch. That was oh man, that one was really cool. Now, my friend Aaron, he wasn't my friend before I met him on this. He was my friend afterwards. Hey, but oh man, yeah, because just getting to know him, and
Yeah.
really, really great guy, and he has an energy about him, and when I got to meet him and be on set with him, now we was living there on set for like 2 months, over in upstate New York, filming this film, and oh gosh, yeah, he reminded me of Hunter Thompson, from Fear and Loathing. He's like,
Yeah.
James God, yeah, what we need here, John, what we need here. He had that kind of energy about him. I could do his voice, so he's like, don't do my voice anymore. It's like, okay, I'm just joking, but it's like, man, it's so cool though, man. And then yeah, but anyway, just being around that one, that was cool. But that took a while too. I mean, after getting my part in that one, it took maybe about a matter of months, maybe almost a year, for that money to get together so we could be finally doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's in the can and getting edited and all that, and that should be available Halloween. So
Nice.
that's yes, that's going to be maybe a small theatrical, maybe more. They're just needing more placement, or however that works. And
Yeah.
so fingers crossed, but it's going to be a beautiful horror movie. But I'm like, in that one, I'm the only Indian in that one, and I'm like the Will Sampson per se. You know, if
Yeah.
anyone knows like how he was as what's his name? His character on Poltergeist 2, Taylor. Like
Yeah.
Taylor, you know, oh man, that was one of my main inspirations when I was a kid was Will Sampson. You know, my mother, she really, really like, yeah, he was it for the Indians of that era, like the 70s and 80s. You know,
Yeah.
oh man, Will Sampson. And later on, you know, I think our generation as millennials, millennial Indians, I think it would be probably Gary Farmer, you know, Philbert from
Okay.
Powell Highway, you know, and his
Yeah.
other stuff. You know, that's what I was telling him. I was like, geez, you know what, Gary, you're like my generation's Will Sampson, or at least I think so. He's like, oh, hey. It's because he really likes Will Sampson too. And that was kind of one of the people he looked up to, you know, and that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You know, it's like, wow, you know, getting to, you know, meeting other people in the business has been really grand, you know, because you see them on TV and you get inspired by them, you know. It's like, geez, their storytelling and whatnot. And that's another thing too that I've have. It's I guess it's one guy told my one guy told me it's one of my gifts, eh? You know, it's my just my oratory and my way of speaking, explaining. You know, painting pictures, eh? You know, and I like that. That's kind of cool. You know. But yeah,
Yes.
so that was the splash squatch, and I've done a few, as they say, sizzles. Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? The sizzles, like yeah,
Yeah.
teasers to raise money for a bigger picture. Yeah, I've been on another Bigfoot one, and geez, that was something. At least they paid me okay, but man, running down a river carrying all this firefighting equipment, you know, oh my goodness, and jumping over these slimy rocks and stuff, and being followed by a drone camera, and then another boat guy with the swivel camera following us alongside. Oh man, not having to do that but once, but 7 times. And not just one way, 7 times each way. It was like we was running lines for basketball practice. Oh man, you know, and I was just like, oh geez, you know, oh gosh, I grew up in Browning, but I never was on one of them firefighting shit. You know what I mean? I was like, geez, this is what it's like. Oh man, you're doing a
Uh,
movie, and I'm all like, oh god, these guys, oh, hats off to the firefighters. Heck yeah, man. Hey, you know.
I remember.
Oh man, little do we know what they have to do,
Did you ever have to
eh?
play football in Brownie?
Oh no, no, I was a basketball kid.
I played football, and that's what they had us do: full pads and everything to prepare us for
Oh,
the pack test.
oh man, I bet, man. Oh geez. Yeah, you know, and with them gears, oh, cause yeah, they're packing a lot of stuff, you know, like a soldier going in the army or war or something, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Uh,
pretty interesting. And then here after that one, let's see. Let's see, there was that one. Oh, and there's this one I started. This lady, she wanted to help me write her screenplay for a film, and it started off just a conversation like that. And she threw me a couple questions, and she's like, "Now, John, now how would you sound, or how would you respond?" You know. And I was thinking, and I was like, "Oh, really? You want my real response to that question?" You know. And she's just like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, well, this is how I'd respond." And she's like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. Oh my goodness, you know. And it's a story about this lady, this two-spirited lady. She grew up in a small town, and she moved away and got her education, and she met her partner, and she come down with some diabetes, and then she moved back and to her small town because living was cheaper, right? And she went back to her small town doctor, and what's it called here, because she had a partner in a small town, wasn't like, you know, cool with that situation. They went back on the religious exemption and wouldn't help her. And so what I my character in that one was a court juror, and I was the Indian in that one, and there was 6 of us, and we all had to be unanimous on on this decision, and all of us was all in favor of that one getting care, but there's one guy, and he was a white man, and pretty much the whole story is just us talking about our own situations, being oppressed or having to deal with the situations like that, and I actually educating that guy, and he kind of hears the stories of all of us, and he really decides to go in favor. So it was really well put together. I got to see bits and pieces of what she has so far, and it's looking really good. Like I say, when you do these movies, you only get to see like what you're doing. You don't know how it's gonna come out. It hasn't been edited, colored, or anything, and I was like, oh my goodness. But yes, there's that one. And not all the time. See, like what I like doing too, now that I'm involved in these things, is if I can, is like lifting other people up as much as I possibly can. And not like, well, I see what you're doing with this podcast thing, which is really cool, highlighting other Indians out there doing this, because
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
it's really, really important, that because we have so many great stories and so
Mhm.
many, things that the outside world just really hasn't been known of, and I think, with a lot of that being on film, could help the ones not even born yet or busy being born have a good path that's lit and show them the way
Yeah.
forward. So those are great things. But like I was saying on to the next one, like I said, lifting people up. Now, this young lady, she was graduating from the University of Texas. What's it called? Austin. Austin, Texas is where that one was. And it was a short. And no, she couldn't find an actor to help her out with her final project. And I seen it on floating around in social media, and I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. So we started corresponding. She's like, we can't pay you, anything, and oh, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'll do it, So I used some of my miles that I had on my deal. Hey, I was like, that's cool. I never had no miles before to use, so I'll use it on this. Hey, so I flew out there, and on my own coin, but that wasn't even about whatever. It was about lifting another person's dream up and their vision, so I was able
Yeah.
to add whatever I could, and that was really neat. That was really cool, So I think with a lot of that, us lifting each other up, this is only going to get better, us being able to tell stories and be able to, really inspire. Because I think
For sure.
what we need is heroes. We need active heroes.
Hmm.
Will Sampson once said, "All of our heroes are ghosts. They're Sitting Bull, Red Jacket, American Horse, Mikeisto, Panaquim, even our elder George Kicking Woman up there in the back of me
Hmm.
by my skull. Our heroes. They're not like as around like everyone else's. They look on TV and they're tangible. They're like, oh, that's real, and that's inspiring. But
For sure.
where are we?
And we, right. And we have some that are stepping up, and it's up to us to keep continuing this legacy on, like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying, and there's also indigenous directors that have been out there. Like I've had one of them come on, Christopher Corset.
Mm.
Uh, he's out in Oklahoma. He's a good person to connect to. He's been doing a lot of short films, and actually, his production company is Native Fables Productions.
Oh, cool.
And he was just on the news up there for a film that he's doing based on the Cherokee Trail of Tears.
Mm.
And
Right on.
so I can't wait to see it come out. But yeah, he's doing that, and then also everybody's familiar with him because of Res Dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's good to see things going up. And what I like to be is I like to be I use an analogy of bucket crabs, right? And
Mm.
a lot of people in the industry can be like that, to where they see somebody else doing good, and because you're in the same demographic, they're like, "Let me grab you and pull you down."
Mm.
I don't want to be that way. I decided a long time ago that I don't want to be that way. I want
Mm-hmm.
to, help lift everybody up, and that's why, I do the Dallas Film Hubs. I love helping them out every Friday. We shoot a
Mm-hmm.
smaller film, but we get together and network, and I help out the director a lot, taking things down, putting things up if I can. And it's because, I want to help everybody succeed. I know that not everybody's going to, but if I help out, I would like to help out as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of different indigenous actors out there that just are doing really good stuff, and you're one of them as well. You're out there, you're out film, and you were recommended to me by somebody else, and they were like, "Hey, have you talked to Johnny?" And that's actually how we met, was because they tagged us together.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting to be well known, because I travel a lot, and I try to make space with as many, indigenous people as I possibly can. You know, uh, this one we went out to Puerto Rico, and that was really nice. We went to the middle of the island, and got to hold space with some Taino Indians over there, which is really cool and really refreshing for them because they kind of feel like we don't know of them really. I was like, no, man, we know who you guys are. Heck yeah, hey. So that was really neat, and then over in the East Coast. I like going over there and holding space with the Haudenosaunee over in Ontario and in New York, and that's really cool teachings and their wampum belt teachings, which was the very first treaty ever made between us and the colonizers, as people put them, So
Mhm.
that's the two-row wampum belt. And for us Indians to get along was the Hiawatha belt, which is
That's
what the
awesome.
U.S. Constitution is based off of.
Hmm.
A lot of people forget that, even our government, I think. But all of those were great ideas that was stemming from us Indians first, and
Yeah.
I think we've been left out of that history,
Mhm.
along the way. It's like we can't really, celebrate, this country without celebrating the American Indian as well. It's like having a one-handed clap, you know.
Yeah.
It's like we're still here too. And that's great. And that's why we need to be on there. We need to be on the screen. Even if it's not even even if it's a non-Indian story, you're the cab driver in some sort of deal, or you're the whatever, I think, yeah,
And
we need to be on there.
actually, that's very true. On Landman, I was the token indigenous man.
Oh yeah.
I was the only one there that was indigenous, but I got some screen time too.
Oh heck
And
yeah, that's
uh
cool.
and then I've been in a couple of other ones like Crazy Texas. I was in that one too. And it's kind of funny because the director was like, they were saying, "Look, that guy was in the church, the same guy that was in the bar, wasn't he?" And so he's like, "You're so recognizable. Even when I'm blurred out, I'm recognizable." Somebody was
Oh man.
watching season 4 of Walker, and they're like, "Hey, I saw you in Walker." I was like, "Really?" I
Hey.
thought I was super blurred. They're like, "You were."
Oh geez. Oh
And then
man.
even in Mo in season 2, I had a little
Hmm.
bit of screen time on there too. I started off doing a lot of background stuff, and
Mm.
then I've gone and done a couple of Choctaw Casino commercials, and then I've done a couple of short films down in San Antonio. You know,
Oh.
and one of them's a film that's gonna have a release that's gonna be international. That was the American Coyote. Lions
Oh
Act Productions is another one to get to know as well,
oh,
and
wow.
follow up with them because they're going a couple of places. That's how I met my agent. I have an international agent,
Mm.
uh, but I met them by working with Lions Act Productions.
Oh my. That's one thing I don't have is an agent. A lot of
Mhm.
because this isn't my main gig, I mean, my main what I do too is I do a lot of community work here in Seattle. I work
Yeah.
for an organization called Mother Nation. So where we're able to help our indigenous people here that is trying to navigate this urban situation. We help them out with financial education. We help them find their way to ceremonies. We have a whole sweat lodge here in the city, which is a very, very first of its kind of a situation. It's really cool, and it's been going strong for 10 years now, and it's really great, and we have moon sweat for our women, and we also hold space for faith keepers from all over Turtle Island to come over and talk, and just open people's mind. And a lot of what we offer too is on Zoom like this in here, so everybody can join. So what we do too, it's like, it's like letting people in, you know like Tecumseh's brother, the open door. You know,
Mm.
yeah, Lalawithika, you know, the open door, you know, the truth. You know, the truth
Yeah.
is from that school of nature for us Indian people. And I think as Indian people, if we used to really get into their spirituality on it all, then I think nothing can stop us, really. You know,
Mm.
maybe it'll take care of that George McFly that kind of gets in the way of a lot of our decisions. Because I notice I'm not alone in that George McFly notion. You know, a lot of us be like, "Oh shit, I just look pissy going over there. I don't know about that." One time I got a manicure, You know, and I never had one, but it was cool, And I was like, "Hey, check this out, cuzzy. I got a manicure. Cool, check it out." Nothing bad about it. Hey, nothing bad about it. All it shit just make me feel all wussy or something. I was like, oh man. But heck yeah, man. You know, I like it.
Nice,
I
man.
really
That
do.
is awesome. You know, the way I got started in acting was background on Lawman Bass Reeves,
Oh yeah.
uh, on Paramount, that Taylor Sheridan's show.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I got started on there. It was at a powwow. I was helping out at IAC powwow and putting together birdhouses with the company I was with at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady, Audrika Young, had come through. She's like, "Hey, they're looking for more Indigenous actors," and she was one of the organizers. And so I believe she was an organizer, but I know she was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but she was doing a lot of the storytelling. I do know that. But anyway, so at first I didn't want to do it. I was just like, I don't want to do that, But Amy, she wanted to do it. She was like, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it alone. I'm like, well, Audrika's gonna be there. She's like, she wanted me to do it. And I was like, I don't think so. And then it took some persuasion, but eventually I decided to go ahead and do it. And then
Mm.
whenever I did finally do it, I was like, hey, this was actually fun. You know,
Mm.
I hadn't felt that much fun since, I did a short in Browning actually at
Mm.
the BHS Media Tech Club back in 2005. We did Goatman Prophecies.
Oh, cool.
And so that one's actually
Hey.
on YouTube.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna go check it out after this. Heck yeah, man.
It was
Goatman
cheesy. It was really
prophecies.
cheesy, but it was fun.
Yeah, that's all that
And
matters, man.
and I wasn't supposed to be on camera. I was actually going to be behind the camera. I was going to be the
Mm-hmm.
camera operator. But the guy that said that he was going to be our lead, he thought it
Mm-hmm.
meant he lead cameraman. And we were like, no, lead actor. And he's like, oh, I don't want to be on the other side of the screen.
No.
And so I ended up taking the lead spot, and it was fun. I was nervous. Like I said, it was really cheesy, but it was fun to do. And then my first time doing lines was for a show about a haunted house park that we're still working on, so I can't give the name on. But anyways, that was my first time doing lines, and I was nervous, and it was my first in-person audition. And in
Mm.
person, I don't know. I'm not that great in person that I am on tape because I can hit record and
Yeah.
re-record it when I mess up. So I love self tapes. But anyways, I was in there. I was fumbling around. They wanted to see what I had, and then it took a couple little while, and they called me back, and I was like, "Whoa, they wanted me."
Yeah.
And then
Felt
so
like
I went
Sally
in and I
Field in
read my
it.
lines. Yeah,
A
and so I
Sally
went in and I
Field
did my
moment.
lines.
Oh, what's that now?
Yeah, I went in and I did my role.
Mm-hmm.
And I was nervous all the way leading up to it. I was sweating and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna forget what I'm saying. And I read through it and like I knew what I was saying. It was like whenever it came to it, I knew what I was saying. It was like it was all there. And I was like, wow, I just got all nervous for nothing.
Oh man.
So that Marty McFly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so I started putting in for a lot of auditions. And I think there's a couple of them. I actually got a couple of roles where I was hit up off of IMDb.
Mm.
And they didn't, since they were requesting me, I didn't have to turn in an audition tape. And I was like, hey, that is actually really cool because they saw my intro video on my old IMDb.
Mm.
I gotta repay the fee.
Oh, the for the pro.
Yeah. But I had my intro video on there so that way everybody that went to my page could see it, which I need to update next time I pay it. But anyways, back to it. they would send me an email, and I was getting requests for different movies. And so this year I have 5 movies that I'm booked for, and I have 2 TV series. And actually, I just got booked for another TV series pilot. So,
Oh,
but again, I had to overcome that doubt that you're talking
yeah.
about. That self doubt, and I had to feel the confidence behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the show also exists to help encourage new actors, people
Oh,
who
yeah.
are interested in doing it, but they're just nervous. And even down here, indigenous people, people who are interested in acting, go for it. They're
Mm-hmm.
at the put it this way, the industry runs in cycles. you know
Mm-hmm.
we got the westerns, we got the moderns, we got the world where the white people are very popular, where there's a lot of black people coming out in movies, a lot of indigenous, and right now it's the indigenous movement.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wanting to see us more on screens, and there a lot of directors are wanting to see us make up their world now. you know
Mm-hmm.
so if there's ever a good time to join, it's definitely now.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so how many auditions would you say that you usually do? Because you say you don't do it full time, but how many
Oh,
do you usually
geez,
respond to?
I try to do an audition maybe once a month or maybe once every other month. It depends. It's like because I look at my schedule and stuff that I'm doing, and my job, I'm very blessed. Mother Nation is such a blessing, because it's a community effort, and they support me in what I'm doing with the
Mm-hmm.
acting part and the public speaking part and even the ceremonial stuff that I do. You know, they're so understanding. And I don't know any other agency or job for that matter. Of course, when I do these acting things, I don't get paid, but I still have a job waiting for me when I'm done. My office is still there. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
cool and such a blessing. A big shout out to my Mother Nation crew and my boss Noreen. But you know going out and auditioning and being accepted in those roles is very, very, it's just, like I was saying, it's like a Sally Field moment. Hey, like that's that old clip of Sally Field when she got the Oscar. It's like how she felt, how we was just talking. She goes, "You really like me. You like me. You really, really like me." I don't know. It said that she really didn't go all far fetched on that, but it still, it's like, wow, okay, because sometimes, we doubt ourselves, even though we do it. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like jumping into a river for the first time, We're all afraid to do that, but once you're in there, your body gets used to it and you're swimming around, you know.
Yeah.
But I landed a good one, and that was from my friend Nella here in Seattle. She knew I was involved with these movies and stuff. She sent me this one from Netflix, and it's a movie called Train Dreams, and that was a good cast. That was with William H. Macy and
Mm-hmm.
what's her name, Grace Jones, I think, and Joel Egerton, and I played a Kootenai Indian in that one, and that one was
Nice.
really cool. What is it?
Nice.
Yeah,
So
that
I
one.
I put it I
Oh,
put it up for you.
oh yeah, yeah. And so they bought it. It did really good at the Sundance Film Festival and got like a 98% Rotten Tomatoes, and that's like really good, I guess.
Nice.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. And it's based on a novella about this man's journey and also the relationship between the Chinese immigrants and the Kootenai Indians when they was building that Kootenai Bridge or over the river. And I played a Kootenai Indian traveling in the boxcar, and one of the Indians in that story that had to go out and collect body parts of one of the main character's friends who got demised from that train. And so we had to go out there, and I helped production out with that one, and I hope that I'm gonna get like a cultural assistant credit on that. That'd be nice because uh, they wanted me to go out there, and they had U.S. Army blankets for us, all for the props and stuff, and this takes place in 1920s, and I was like, okay, and but I seen the U.S. Army blanket, and I asked him, I was like, when's this take place? And he said the 20s. I was like, oh, I'm not too sure, but I don't think an Indian of my age right at this point in time would be wanting to wear one of these blankets. I'd rather freeze. And he's like, "Oh my goodness, was that because of all the wars?" I was like, "Well, it's a more different experience. When we was just kind of getting over that situation with all the wars, the United States made us a promise, and that was World War One. And all Indians that go and fight in World War One would be granted their citizenship upon return. And so a lot of Indians went over there and fought. And so upon return, 1919, they come back and and a lot of that wasn't met, that promise, because sure, some of them were allowed to leave, but let's not forget that was 1919. And a lot of the
Mhm.
people that would fight us in the rivers, in the mountains, in the plains were very much alive and maybe 60, 70 years old and in charge of policies and stuff. And the Indian had a snowball's chance in heck to make it off res. So they had no chance but to go back to the reservation, and not everyone was granted, to be able to leave without Indian pass, just the veterans. However, the veterans, they were traumatized from the trench warfare. And so they wanted to be able to drink in the saloons with their friends. And so the way that I understand it is that it took an act of Congress to designate all them veterans Native American so they could get around their treaty obligations, no firewater, and they could be honored that way and drink with their doughboys. That's what they called the veterans back in World War One who fought the Kaiser. So that's where that come from, So I told them that history, and they, because they never understood, they didn't know that. They didn't think we fought in any wars until like World War II or whatever. I was like, no, I had uncles that fought in World War One, and a lot of people I know, fought in World War One. I had grandparents in that situation. And they're like, oh my goodness. And I said, so in that time, they wouldn't want to be honoring no promise breaker yet again, you know. So I mean, that's just what I understood, and that made sense to them. So, but the thing was, they allowed me to use my grandma's blanket, which is a Hudson, really old, from about 1880s, 1870s, somewhere around there. Her mother's blanket that her great great grandmother's father paid for with beaver pelts for.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's been in my family all this time. And so they let me wear it, and that was really cool to, honor my grandma and everyone who owned that. That was really nice. I let the director and him know that, that was really, really nice of them to do that. I have a couple pictures of me in that blanket on my IMBD too. That was a really great experience. And also when we was going out there to handle the dead body parts of that guy's friend, they wanted us out there picking up these body parts like nothing. And I was like, "Ooh, wait, wait, wait." I was like, "No, no, we'd be offering something every time." The Indian people didn't invite death around them talk too much. They did not, not even talk about it. You'd be inviting it on you. You do that, and let alone touching anything. So one way to protect yourself is that you be offering some tobacco or something, to leave an offering to the creator to protect you, so you got to touch this stuff that might attach itself to you. You got to ask for that protection so it won't attach itself to you. And they're
Hmm.
like, what do you mean? And they had these prop medicine bags that was really, really nice, and I was like, that's cool, and I was telling them, but they had no tobacco, but I had some tobacco, so he's able to put some tobacco in there and then just offering, four corners. And the people didn't know the prayers or anything of their specific tribes. I was like, that's fine. It's just the emotions itself. One, two, three, four. The four directions. And then he could lay it down and then touch that body part or whatever the prop is. But
Yeah.
that's one thing. And a lot of that was just me. Talking about stuff that I learned along the way from the elders and holding space and stuff. And it was it really helped production, they said, to
Nice.
understand some things, especially about our ways of knowing, and I thought that was really cool, very flattering, You know, I was just trying to be of help or service, you know, as they say. But here it turned out to be really cool. And, you know, so I got a good friendship with one of the producers of that one. And so hopefully it gets premiered on Netflix soon. They bought it and at the Sundance in January. So I'm still haunting Netflix channel. I'm like, Train Dreams, Train Dreams.
Nice.
So yeah, so keep your eyes open. It will be premiering. So Train Dreams on Netflix. Yeah, so I'll probably
I
be
wanted to
like
put
how
that back
you
on the
saying,
queue.
the background person. They will probably see my grandma's blanket more than me. Hey. But it was still cool to be around them stars though, hey.
Oh, for sure. It definitely is really cool to be around some of them. Some of them are really cool. Like I got to meet Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh,
Dude is
sweet.
really cool. He walked up to me and he said, "Hey, glad to see you here, buddy." You know, and I was
Oh,
like, "Dude, that
wow.
was just cool." He's trying to get me in trouble, but you know, I'm just like, he ain't trying to get me in trouble. He's just a chatty person.
Yeah.
Uh, but they tell us not to talk to the stars because it distracts
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
But if they talk
yeah.
to you, don't ignore them. So I was like, and then I told somebody else, I was like, "Hey, Billy Bob Thornton told me hi yesterday," and they're like, "No way!" And so he come walking through again, and he was like, "Oh, it's good to see you again. Good to see you again today, buddy." And he jumped up at my back, and he's like, "He did talk to you yesterday." I was like, "Yeah, he's a cool guy."
Oh, geez. That's how that was with me and that Joel Edgerton. I hadn't heard of him, you know. I mean,
Mhm.
I've been kind of not keeping up on the newer stuff, you know. And I do and I don't, you know. I kind of usually
Yeah.
come in and I hear about a movie and I check it out. But here I was just sitting there visiting all the other extras. I think we was just extra Indians, and we are just kind of hanging out. And here I'm just kind of like minding my business, and here this guy comes up and starts talking to me, and I remember him in that boxcar from the day before, and he was talking real American. You know, he sounded like he didn't have no accent, but when he started
Mhm.
talking to me, he sounded like Crocodile Dundee, you know, like from Australia. And I, you know, and here I felt bad, you know. I mean, just because you know, he started talking to me, so like, hey, you know, and then you know, being friendly with me, and then being from the res too, you know, it's like I was like, oh, this guy is like, heck yeah, man, I remember you using that box car yesterday. Heck, he was really sounding American. He just now he's it's like Dundee. And then he was like, yes, I'm Aussie, you know. And I was like, that's cool, man. Heck, that's really neat, you know. You couldn't even tell I was complimenting him. But then here I didn't know he was the big actor guy, and here I didn't want to insult him. I felt bad. But here, no, that director told me, he's like, no, no, don't worry. He says he's been holed up in his trailer the whole time. He's been kind of bombarded by extras and crew getting his autograph, wanting to pick his brain about stuff. And I think he came out probably just to talk to you or one of you guys. Maybe he likes indigenous people. I says, I think so, because he was really asking all of us some questions and stuff about Indians. And like, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. That's cool. I was like, all right, hey. But yeah, that's yeah, Joel
Pick
Edgerton,
away.
really
No.
nice guy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really. I didn't. I mean, he just caught me off guard. You know, I was like, "Whoa, what a change!" You know, but that's
Yeah.
acting. It's excellent acting. You know, I was like, "Wow," you know, that was really neat, inspiring too to do voices. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
man, it was like, sweet.
when I do auditions, sometimes if especially if it's a self tape, I'll turn in like maybe 2 takes of it, and
Mm,
I'll change things. Like I'll change my whole accent. I'll change my speech pattern.
mm-hmm.
There was one of them where I'll talk like this. And there was a couple of them where I did like a real deep Texan accent, and I just kept talking to them, and I was like, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna read my lines just like this." And some of them like that. Some of them was for an older person, so I, you
Mm-hmm.
know, made my voice sound like I was a really old person, and I got the role too for that. And I was like, "This is cool." They're like, "Hey, can we do prosthetics for this guy? You know, make me look old."
Oh, sweet.
It's and so that's the plan on some of the roles coming up is they're gonna make me look old. Someone will be wearing prosthetics. Now I've heard things about prosthetics, but I'm not sure if it's true. But it drives you crazy a little bit.
Oh man, I've read stories of the ones that was in the Ninja Turtle outfits from the 1990 film. Oh, hey man, this is not liking it, man. Oh man, that guy that played Kino in the second one, the pizza delivery guy, he played
Yeah.
Donatello in the first film, doing all those, and he was talking. He's like, no, 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 worst times of my life, being in that heavy turtle outfit, doing all those wicked moves and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, you can only imagine. I
And
don't think it was lighter stuff, man. Jim Henson, he was the real deal Holyfield on that stuff. That was
oh
his
yeah.
turtle movie.
And I was watching interview with Jim Carrey whenever he was talking about the Grinch. Oh man, he said that he had to go through like CIA torture training for his mind, so that way, you know, because they compare it to similar type mentality distress.
Oh man, I bet.
Being in it for that long, and it's not your skin, and you can't like. I can imagine getting itchy and be like, oh, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh. Kind of like Cheech and Chong, Nice Dreams, when he's locked in that insane asylum and he's in the straitjacket and his balls itch. Oh, you remember that part, eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was great, yeah.
he's a, you're thinking he's like having a conniption, because he's like a crazy guy, and he's not. Oh, my balls
He's
itch.
dragging around like a dog.
Like a dog. Oh, I know it. Oh, jeez, man, that was so crazy, man. Nice Dreams, one of my favorite Cheech Chongs, man.
Yeah, man, that was hilarious. What's kind of funny is how generations down, the characters may change, but they're basically the same characters. It's like Cheech and Chong for was originals or that we know of.
Oh yeah,
After that, now it's like who was it? Jay and Silent Bob, Jason Mewes and what's his name? Kevin Smith.
oh yeah,
Because remember Chong was in that '70s show.
that's true. I remember one of the films he was in was National Lampoon Senior Trip. He played Red the Dope King.
Yeah. And then in that '90s show, and Chong
Oh
was actually
yeah.
was on there too. And then
Mhm.
in that '90s show, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, they basically uh they took over as his position. And it's like, well, they seem like the new age stoner type people, it's Jay and Silent Bob now versus Cheech and Chong. And it's crazy how that cycle kind of continues forward, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. Man, yeah, that dynamic. Yeah, another thing too I like doing, I've been getting into in the past, well, year or so is writing, you
Hmm.
know, just writing. It started off, journal writing my thoughts, but then, I started like looking how these scripts I've been getting are written. And I'm just like, you know what? I think I could put stuff together, something like. So I started writing one about my mom's life. My mom was, oh, she was one heck of a lady, man. So I was trying to write about her, a lot of good things. She was one of those inspirational Indian women back in the days that, man, she was in the urban setting and she could make a room full of men listen when a lot of women had no voice. And we're talking the 60s, 70s when they was really fighting, and man, something. Yeah. So I'm entitling that one the unsinkable Molly Brown. The unsinkable Molly Brown, because that's what the non-Indian people would refer to my mother as, is the unsinkable Molly Brown, because of her dynamic ways. If they couldn't get something conveyed or understood, they knew my mom, John Lee, could, and she would be right there. So yeah, her name was Ground Diving Woman, Suitsayaki. That one was given to her by old Leonard Mountain Chief when my name was given to me when I was born. My first name was Mikei Sakomapi, meaning red boy or red root growing, depending on which way you say it, I guess. But in that context, be red boy or maybe red root growing. I don't know. I never really stopped asking. Old Leonard's gone now. But that's the name I had, up until I was 16. And then I got my name I hold now as Benaquim, and that's seen from afar, and that's the man right there, that painting. Yeah, he was one of the greatest chiefs our Confederacy ever had. He was from Guinea, the blood reserve, the blood people, we have three bands. That's Blackfoot, Siksika, Guinea, and the Piikani. And the Piikani is cut in half by the medicine line, which created the Amskapi Piikani, Southern Piikani, which is also known as Blackfeet. So, that's those things too, I really, really appreciate, coming from, a lot of those ways. That's what I meant when we first started talking, when I first moved over here to the city, is I really got lost where I thought value was the material way, you know. But then I started really looking at things and seeing things, and I realized how much, you know, that I really wasn't, and I really got to count that as a blessing, and do what I can, to help others, have that connection, and get involved. It's about inclusion, not exclusion. That's what my mother always said. It's about inclusion, not exclusion. We're all human beings, and we're all connected. And this ways is all human ways. And to call it Indian ways is quite an error because it's meant for everyone. So those are those things. Oh, I'm just tearing up talking about it, but it's so serious, and it means so much. It's the heart beating for the Indian people, is our ways of knowing and seeing this way and practicing that silence, to get to know each other. And when I say that, not just human beings, no, everything, and that's so important. And it's important for us not to let that be forgotten, and that's what we are. So, and that's another thing I like doing is reconnecting people, help people reconnect no matter what kind of, what tribe they're from, what nation, as I like to put it. I don't like really calling us tribes, we're nations. We need to be understanding of our wordage and how we identify who we are. We're nations. Only nations to nation make treaty with one another. And they made treaty with us, nation to nation. So, and we're still here. So that needs to really be understood by the younger people. And that's how it was told to me at being a younger person. There's those times when my mom, she'd go on and on and on, and be telling me these things, and she'd raise her voice and be sharp with me. And one time, I thought she was mad at me because she was so serious. I was like, "Why are you getting mad at me?" And she's like, "Damn it, baby, I'm telling you in this such a way so it'll be an arrow in your ears. That way you can't take it out and forget it." Holy, you know, but that's how that was. And so that, how they say nowadays, it sits with you, you know? And so, yeah, so that's how I was brought up. And I think that we need more of that. We need more of those stories told. We need more of those moral lessons out there. We need more of the Indian ways of seeing things out there on film, because there's a great value in that. And there's a great value in that being lost, or, that would be lost if it's not, and that's one of the things I think can really help us, reconnect as, human beings, ultimately, above all, because that's where we're at now. We're getting so knowledgeable about the world, and sometimes we get lost in that, and it's important to know about the world, but at the same time, let's not forget about nature, because I heard some flowers out there could survive in a snowstorm naked. I don't know any of one of us that could survive out in a snowstorm naked. Oh, we'd die. Yeah, I just think that's beautiful how nature works, eh? Especially in a Sundance too. Oh man, you really learn oh my goodness, be under that hot sun dancing away, and then that sun reaches a certain way and hits a little leaf there, so small, and gives you that much shade. You're just like, oh, thank you. You feel like you feel like Chris Farley in Black Sheep, you know. Oh, thank you, little Root, for being so strong. Oh, you know, it's just like oh,
Yeah.
thank you, little Leaf. You know, it's like, man, if it wasn't for that little leaf, man, you'd be cooked up, eh? And that's another thing too. Right now is the season of ceremony.
Hmm.
So we're all getting in a good mood, and making them vows strong, and and the sun dancers are going in, they're getting prepared, they're getting ready, and that's coming
Hmm.
up, and us Picani, we have our bundles being opened, and all of that, and everything. Pipes are being smoked. The thunder's already come out. Namska happened. The circle camp's about ready to come out. I mean, really, a lot of beautiful things.
Oh, for
Which
sure.
was I was going to ask you too. Have you been around any of those things back home?
It was been a long time. I used to do the sweats up there, and then we've been to a couple of ceremonies. My mom's been invited to a lot of them, and she's actually been invited to them more now. So she was up there last year, but because there's been a big shift in her life to where she's doing a little bit more energy work now, you
Mm,
know, and so she's been a lot more involved. And I believe she went to one that invited ceremonies,
mm,
the invite only. She's been
hmm.
invited to those too.
Oh, right
And
on.
so I don't want to, give too much onto it because it's not mine to talk about.
Yeah,
Um, but I've been to a few. I believe, whenever I was younger, I wish that I was a lot more involved than I was.
yeah.
Because when I was younger, of course I was young and I was stupid, you know,
Mm,
and I didn't value what I should have valued at the time. And so now that I'm older, I do, and I see the reason, why we need to, continue because they say it takes one generation to start to lose
hmm.
progress and lose their language, lose your culture. And it takes three to rebuild it back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I don't want to be part of the reason why it's lost. That's why I started learning, our language.
Hmm.
I still have a long way to go. I don't really have anybody to practice with, but I have a long way to go, and I want to reconnect more.
Yeah. Absolutely. I hope, people find their way to the Sundance, people that like to be involved. And, I like I just got back from Montana, a couple days ago out at a ceremony, brought someone out there, their heart's calling them there. So I brought them out there, it was really cool. I
Nice.
really like that, when they're able to be a part of that, because sometimes especially in the city, I've noticed people, they have a misconception, like they're ousted because they're not from the area, or they've never been around it, and they're just feeling like they're outsiders. And it's one thing I
Hmm.
had to convey to the young man that come out with me this last time. It's like, see, when you see these with your eyes, you see the truth. I was like, that's why the Indian people only see and believe what they see. you know don't, your ears and all that could lie to you sometimes. And so
Hmm.
we went.
Oh, I think I may have lost you. I think I may have lost you. Johnny? I did see that he had hold on. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's not me. Okay. Well, if you guys see me, I keep plugging in and plugging it out my charger because my phone got a little bit low. I think that may be the same issue that happened with him. I think his phone got low because I did see him start to plug in his phone. Uh, yeah, thank you. He did. I think that his phone had died. Huh. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think Johnny's phone has died. We do have a little bit long talks, and so that's actually pretty cool. I do want to reconnect with culture. That is something that is important to me. I do want to be more involved. Like I said, that's why I started learning the language and trying to teach what I learn is so that way, I have a track of where I'm at. You know, I do want to have more people to practice with, and that is definitely a goal of mine. But I think that what happened is his phone died. Like I said, I've been plugging my phone in and out. This one's a Nintendo Switch charger, so this actually overheats my phone. Uh, he went to Browning. His from Browning, or is from up there in Browning area and all that. And so that's actually where in Montana he went. He's from our nation, and so he's part of our. You know, he goes up there to the ceremonies of Sundance up there that are in Browning. And so appreciate that question. Oh, looks like we got him back. Let's add him to stage. Hey, welcome back.
Hey, sorry about that. My phone died on me. I was like, oh, geez, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I kind of figured that's what happened.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
I have it
I've been
plugged
plugging
in, but
my
it's
phone in
taking
and
this
out.
weight down, so my screen's kind of moving, but I'm right here, but my phone's plugged in, so there it is. That's the best I can do. So here I am.
You're all good. And
At least my
the
phone's
software
plugged in.
the software works if you have it on landscape as well too.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And so, but hey, this is gonna be artistic. You'd be like, oh, my neck is sore now. I'm standing sideways.
Right. Hello out there in Indian land. Hey. Oh,
It's a great thing to
yeah.
be indigenous, right?
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, Indian rig. Hey, there we go. Well,
And so one of ours actually had a question for you. I was wondering what part of
okay.
Montana that you went to.
Oh, Browning. Actually, Star School. We
Oh,
got their medicines and stuff to build everything in Star School and around that area, but mainly Browning.
okay. This is actually my sister. That's her married name, but yeah, that's actually my sister. She was born down here in Brownwood, Texas, but we
Mm-hmm.
all lived up there for a while in high school too. So she was up there in Browning. And
Cool.
so my people is actually the Little Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you know, my I think it's 5 generations back was Chief Little Dog
Oh yeah.
or Metekwan. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to continue honoring him. That's why I go by his name. It's, you know, it's up in my generations as well too. So that was
Mm.
actually the name that called out to me, and actually the name that I started getting called Little Dog. You know, because for a
Mm-hmm.
little while there, whenever I was going around, because I did a lot of door to door sales for a while, uh, and whenever I say, you know, because I'm very grateful for, you know, his my dad. You know, he got me when I was 2. So he's my
Mm.
dad. You know, so that's why I have Murillo as my last name, but original birth certificate says Little Dog.
Oh.
And so, uh, but yeah, so I'm very grateful for him for, you know, taking care of me since I was really young. That was awesome. But yeah, my people. That's why my mom's. Oh, there we go. Other finger. My mom was, you know, Bonnie Little Dog from up there, and Howard was my grandpa.
Oh
And
wow.
so
Cool. Cool.
yeah, so he just recently passed. You know, he was the first Parks and Rec officer, or you know,
Yeah.
and so but that was pretty cool. I mean, I like learning about this now, and I see the value in it. You know, and I'm hoping that I can pass it on to my kids as well.
Oh yeah. You know, they called us the Tigers of the Plains. You know, we're the mightiest of the mighty over in that area. You know, the Blackfoot people. You know, so it's really, really important culture and to understand and to be able to embrace and to be able to share it with others too. Because there's a great value in all of these ways of knowing, not just for
Hmm.
the Indian people, but for everyone as human beings under the sun. You know, so many of us have forgotten that initial agreement with Mother Earth, you know, that we'd walk hand in hand. We'd walk hand in hand with Mother Nature, you know, not above it, you know. And that's one thing that we just kind of receded our handshake from that, like dead bark receding from a tree. That's what I see, and it's like, you know, we're better people. You know, we can realign that because that's where it really truly is. You know,
For sure.
and the Sundance and all that. You know, it helps you understand the humility of it all. like I was explaining, like, oh, little root, that's, oh my goodness, but that's so much the truth, fasting, going without water for a few days. Oh my goodness. I mean, really, you really feel it. You're that close to, oh my goodness, But for some reason, you're able to do it, and that's the vow, that's the spirituality involved in it. There's so many things you see in there, in that barrier. It's one thing I saw in Star Wars, and I think that George Lucas took some concepts from Indian ways, like where that one time when Yoda, yeah, Yoda and Luke Skywalker, he's showing him the inside of that trunk of that tree, and Luke's getting scared, and he says, "What's in there?" And then Yoda, "Only what you have in you, or only what you bring in there." Same concept as with any ceremony, be it sweat lodge, sundance, all that, you know. As I sweat lodge, I really see the beauty and the power of the sweat lodge, especially for, for a lot of the Indian men, or people, anybody. Because man, it's when I was little and I first started going, I would be in there and I'd see all the adults. It would be like it would be a lot. They're like, oh, oh, I mean, really, it's hot in there. But I was just kind
It
of looking
is.
around. I was just looking around, but it wasn't affecting me like that, And then here I asked one of the elders I was with, George Kicking Woman, and I asked him about it, and he kind of explained it like this. He says, "Well, when you're younger, when you're little, like you are young, you're not carrying that much. Life hasn't put that much on you, so you're not carrying that much. For what you go in there with is what you carry in with you. So you're not carrying that much. So it's not that heavy. When you bring stuff in there, you're bringing it in there to let it go. That's what these guys are doing. That's what we're doing. Even me." He says, when it's getting too overbearing, that's us letting that stuff go. He says, you don't have that much yet, but watch in time you will. And sure enough, like he said, oh yeah, I'm down there. Ooh, ooh. But there's beauty in that.
Yeah.
Like a sweat rock. You have a sweat rock,
Mhm.
and you see the little shiny stuff all around it, depending if you're using a volcanic or the shiny one you get at the riverbank. But anyway, the shiny one, you can bring it to the Empire State Building, and you can drop it off that, and it'll hit the ground, and it'll shatter that sidewalk, and the rock won't even be dented. Nothing. Won't break. But you use it in a sweat lodge one time. You bring it to the same peak or whatever, and you drop it. It starts crumbling before it hits the ground, and it's in pieces before it hits the ground. Now you look at the same rock, and one that's used and one that's not. Them sparkly things are gone. Okay, that's all the minerals and stuff. And you look under a microscope. They're like when the shiny stuff's there, it's a weave. It's like that, holding all of that stuff together in that rock, making it ever so strong. But when all of that's gone, it unhooks that weave and it's straight like that. So it just crumbles. So that
Wow.
thing that's missing is what we're sweating in there, that strength, the essence of the grandfather stone. Why we call it that? It starts its life. It may be a little mineral on the surface of the earth. Then it goes in. It goes in. And throughout time, through the earth going around its axis and erosion and all of this stuff, plate tectonics, science explains more words than I can, that process. It goes in a clockwise motion according to the earth's axis through this time. And during this time, it goes through the crust, the mantle, almost to the core, maybe, but it finds its way back through and it presents itself yet again to the surface. And it's not a little pebble no more, it's a sweat rock having all of those things above there. That's what it is. That's one way we
Nice.
understand that. And that's the science behind that sweat. That's why we sweat.
That is
That's
awesome.
a it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I definitely do want to go back and go ahead and sit through another sweat because even whenever, like I said, when I was younger, Yeah, I could definitely see the difference. And now, I try to get a little bit of that connection by going into a sauna.
Oh yeah.
And that's about as close as I can get now.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Although I've
But
heard that they're starting to do some more sweats here in Texas. I just don't know where they're at. And I started to connect with the culture around here, around the other indigenous around me. And
oh,
so I go
cool.
up to like Texas Native Health. I go to the powwows here. I actually got involved and I play Kabucha Toli or Choctaw Stickball.
Oh, right on, man. That's so
And
cool.
man, I've gotten so many injuries off of it.
I heard about that. I bet. Oh my. Oh,
I've had 3 broken ribs. I've torn a hamstring. I tore an ACL and meniscus.
oh
But I
man.
enjoy it. I mean, I don't enjoy the misery. I enjoy the game.
Oh
But
geez.
but I found out that there's ceremony behind that as well too. And down here, that's how they used to settle disputes. You
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And so, and that's where they got lacrosse from. I mean, there's just so much culture into it, and I enjoy it. I play with the Choctaws that are local here, as well as a couple of people from a couple of mixed tribes. We're a mixed tribe down here,
Yeah.
and so just many nations coming together, and it's good to build culture, and
Hmm.
community, and that's what our coach is Eli Hickman.
Hmm.
And that's what he's trying to do is build a community through what he calls it building community through harder hits or through hard hits.
Oh yeah.
And so, but I enjoy being part of the culture and everything, and so I do want to reconnect with my culture and my language as well.
Hmm.
uh I know that we're starting to get a little bit later on in time, but I do really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, I
uh
appreciate being on here. Thank
for
you for
sure.
that.
Thank you. I do plan on eventually getting a full stage going and, doing like a late night type show type thing. And so when we get that going, it's going to be down here, of course, but, I would, be more than happy to have you come on.
Oh, right
Okay.
on. I would be honored.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you, Johnny. Do you have anything for last thoughts or anything?
Oh, no, not too much. Just always remember to pray. And one thing I'd like, for me and you is, if you don't mind, I'll pray with you, huh?
Okay.
Okay, I'll do this in Blackfoot.
Okay.
All right, brother. Ayaw na pinatutsi, ayaw apistato, kiestapatapio. Ayaw kukimikatsun, apisuatsis, ayaw kipitake. Espumukinan. Espumukinan niya sa tipi. Ihkakima, Thomas, and all of his endeavors. Espumukinan niya sa tipi. And let us all try hard in everything that we try to do. Ayaw na pinatutsi, ayaw apisatoki, estapatapio, ayaw kukimiketsu, maapisiwatsis, ayaw kipitaki, Kian. Thank you for that.
Hey, thank
Kian is
you.
pretty much what we say to end prayer, like a aho. We don't say the aho, but us is
Yeah.
Kian.
Hey, I would like to stay connected and learn more about the language. Like I said, I don't really have many people I can practice with, and I would be really honored if you, teach me our language. So,
Oh, absolutely. And if there's something I don't know, I know a lot of people that do. Heck yeah.
okay. And I'm always trying to sneak lines into my works too, and that are in our language. So,
Oh man, heck yeah, that's what it's about. That's how we keep it alive. Hey, we throw it out there and one word will attach itself to someone like medicine and it'll
yeah,
stick with
and
them.
that's why I do the Blackfoot 101 lessons on here. Is
Mm.
every single week I have something new that I'm learning that I'm trying to teach to everybody else.
Oh
And so
yeah.
that way it stays out there and it's on the internet. It's out there forever. So
Heck yeah, man.
yeah, for sure. So thank you.
All
I
right, my
appreciate it.
brother.
Okay.
It was good talking and meeting with you and everything, and it is really a great honor to be. This is my first interview, So wherever the world may take me or you, at least we have
Yeah,
this moment. Hey, it is the very first time for me to be on here like this. I do a lot of posting on my Facebook, but I don't really talk on there. Some people have been telling me I should at least do a voice talking on what I'm typing. It sounds good me saying it instead of people reading it. But I like writing. But this is really cool. I really appreciate it and all your time and everybody else's. Thank you so much. This means so much. Thank you, Thomas.
appreciate you. This was my mom actually. She's from Browning, and so that's my dad's last name right here. Uh, Sorry, who was on there? So there we go. What does that say? Grand Prairie, 17th powwow, Grand Prairie. Oh, she's telling us about the. Oh, that's right. On the 17th, there's also a powwow in Grand Prairie too. So I've forgotten about that. But anyways, I really appreciate you, Johnny. I look forward to eventually that we're gonna run across paths and we're gonna get to work on set together.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, man. Mention me. And heck yeah, man. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to work with anybody out there that's doing something that, oh, man, please keep me in the loop. Okay.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, that's my mom. Maiden name is Live Dog. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, anyways, but I really appreciate it, man. It's been an honor. I'm really happy that that. Thank you, Thomas, again for make for connecting us. It's great, and so I see it going many places. And whenever I get the little skits written out and going on, uh, I'll see what I could do, and I want to involve a lot of people from the culture, and there's going to be a diverse crowd that come in for the many of the skits, but for the
Hmm.
most part, it's going to center around Indigenous humor. Okay.
Heck yeah, man. That sounds good.
All right. And whenever I do the little bit for that I do in honor of Charlie Hill,
Hmm.
off of a bit that he came up with, and I just expanded on it into like a full ad. Uh, it's gonna premiere here on the show as well too, and so I'll let you know when that's gonna happen. Okay.
That sounds good. All right. Heck yeah.
Um, I appreciate it. And
All right,
now
man.
I want to make sure that I say it right. Right? Get the Matson.
What is it?
Is it? Am I saying it right? Get the Matson.
Kitakitimatsu.
Get the Matson.
Kitakitimatsu. Yeah, till we meet
Get the
again.
Matson. Till we meet again.
Kitakitimatsu. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Miss Scud. You have a good one, okay?
All right. You too. Thank
All
you.
right. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I really thank everybody for tuning in. That was a great interview. I look forward to learning the language even more and eventually becoming pretty fluent in it. So, I did forget to mention this a little bit earlier, but whenever I get further along and we get more followers, we are going to be doing drawings for hats. And so this is one of the hats. Gotta find the other one. When we get to 25 subscribers, that's going to be one of the hats as well as one of the generic, Cowboys one. If you're still a Cowboys fan, I am. But anyways, this one is going to be, and I figured it out. This one's going to be at 100, and this one, fifth. Is it 1500? This one's going to be around 200. This one is actually used as a prop on some of the Dallas Film Hub stuff coming up. So keep an eye on IRM Films on YouTube. Follow Dallas Film Hub, and you'll be able to see some of the plays that I'm actually, or some of the skits that I'm in with them as well. And you will see this hat. It is a prop, and what I'll be doing is probably sign it whenever we get to 100 subscribers. And so I'm very optimistic about that. Uh, you know, I'm really happy with the way that things are going. Even though it started off kind of rough and it had a rough beginning at that today's show, as it got a little bit, further along, it got better and better. The stuff kind of stopped happening on my phone. I'm not sure what the difference between why it was happening, why it wasn't happening. I'm just glad that it stopped. And I'm very grateful for all of you guys sticking through it. And I know it was a long episode, but the flow was going good, and we were just having some good fun. Uh, I was hoping that Daniel would hop back on one more time So that way we can go ahead and end it with his soothing voice and then go into end credits. But I don't think that he is. I know that he said that he was doing a tattoo, I believe. So I really appreciate it. To all of our guests, thank you guys for joining us. For everybody who's watching still, if you watch towards the end credits does have the social medias of everybody that was on today. And actually, that has been something that I've been doing for a little while now, is I've been doing end credits with all of our guests' social medias. So you can probably go back a few episodes, watch them, and see how they're going. So, you know, thank you. And until we meet again, I am Little Dog. And this is today's Entertainers with Little Dog. Y'all have a great night and take care, all right? And you know what? I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.
Fuiste mal con mi corazón y ya ahora vienes a buscarme. Un día fuiste todo para mí y ya ahora no puedo ni verte. Yeah, something like that. Thank y'all, man.